Apostolides and his Cypriot lawyer, Costas Frangeskides, speak to us on the developments in the case at that time. And obviously at that time, last June, we had the success before the European Court of Justice, but we hadn't yet had the Court of Appeal hearing and the decision. So tonight's an important evening. I wanted to invite Mr. Apostolides back to London and Costas Frangeskides back to London, particularly because of that recent success. It was a very significant judgment in the Court of Appeal, in the English Court of Appeal. And we will hear about the ramifications of that judgment from the speakers and the panel this evening. But it does explain how the English courts and the European courts have upheld the rule of law in relation to the rights of Greek Cypriots generally, not just Mr. Apostolides, but the principle applies across the EU. We have some eminent guests tonight who I'd like to welcome. We have the Cyprus High Commissioner here, Mr. Alexandros Zenon. We have the Cyprus Consul General here, Evangelos Savas. We also have some representatives from the United Kingdom Foreign Office, Stephen McCormack and his team. We welcome them all here tonight and thank them for coming. I'd also like to welcome my partner Simon Condon from the City Law Firm of Holman, Fenwick and Welland, who represented Mr. Apostolides. And hopefully Simon can say a few words, maybe later on once he's heard what everyone else has said. Probably the best way of putting it. Right. Let me just briefly introduce our speakers individually. I think both Mr. Apostolides and Costas Frangeskides need no introduction. Mr. Apostolides, the important thing I would like to say about Mr. Apostolides is that, and I'll leave him to talk about his own reasons for bringing the action, is he's obviously made sacrifices. This has been a case he's pursued for 5 years, but he's always made it absolutely clear why he's pursuing this case. He wants to return to his property, his family home. It's not only the bricks and mortar that he wants. It's obviously important. It's his inheritance. It's something he wants to give to his children. But it's his cultural heritage. It's Europe's cultural heritage. It's his family's heritage. And that's why he wants to return. Costas Frangeskides needs no introduction. He's a leading Cypriot lawyer. He has his own law office in Nicosia. And Costas had the courage and foresight to take the steps that were required in this case. So I'm very pleased and very honoured to have a good friend here tonight with us. To my right, I'm fortunate we're surrounded by lawyers tonight, but to my right, some more lawyers. We have Dr. Cypriots, a leading academic lawyer and historian of Cypriot history, an excellent speaker. Dr. Cypriots holds an LLB from the University of Birmingham, and MPhil and PhD from the University of Cambridge. But he's an expert in constitutional law and written numerous works on constitutional legal things, particularly related to Cyprus. Klearchos will be speaking and summing up, really, after we hear from Costas and Mr. Apostolides, about how this case reaffirms the rule of law, the principle which obliges all European Union states, including the United Kingdom, to uphold the legal rights of all European Union citizens. I'm sure it will be very thought-provoking, as usual, and very interesting speech. Last but not least, we'll hear from my good friend, Nick Kanopios, former Lobby for Cyprus coordinator and now Lobby for Cyprus deputy coordinator. Nick is a partner in a UK law firm specialising in copyright, human rights and cultural litigation. Nick himself has been involved directly in cases related to Cyprus cultural destruction. So we're very fortunate to have Nick here, and Nick will be talking about his own perspective and Lobby's perspective of the recent Court of Appeal decision. Now finally, before we start, could I ask you all, please, on your chairs there should be a form. Lobby for Cyprus is a voluntary organisation. At a minimum, if you would like us to email you, please fill out the form and put your mailing list and your email address on the form. But if you want to become a member, we're happy to take donations and obviously the forms are at the back, I'm told. Okay, the forms are all at the back and not on the chair. So please fill it out. At least give us your details and we can keep you in the loop. A little bit about Lobby, briefly. Lobby for Cyprus was formed in 1992. It was formed as an umbrella group of a number of Greek refugee associations who basically had enough with what was happening in the discussions in relation to the Cyprus issue. And what we are is basically representing their interests, their rights, their hopes, and we are independent. We're non-aligned, which we believe is important for us to ensure that we have the ability to campaign without influence and pressure from external sources or forces. Now that's very important for us. We've been doing that for a long, long time. And we're not anti-anyone. We are protecting and preserving the rights of European citizens whose properties have been taken away at the barrel of a gun in 1974. And we would ask that if you feel that you can support us, please fill out those forms and become members. My final introductory comment is that Lobby campaigns on the basis that we will never accept a settlement that creates an apartheid state in Cyprus. And obviously we have concerns, we don't know what's going on in the discussions at the moment, they're all being conducted in secret. But we will never accept apartheid, and will never accept any solution which denies Cypriots their fundamental rights, which are enjoyed by all, and should be enjoyed by all European Union citizens. Anyway, those are my introductory comments. Thank you again for coming tonight. And I will now turn to our first speaker, which is Mr. Costas Frangeskides, to discuss the case and the implications.